Good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so accustomed saying good evening. So accustomed saying good evening. Excuse the noise on my phone. I'm so sorry. But good night, because I'm on here later than I normally am, like a whole hour and more. So I wanted to greet you first by saying good night. I hope everyone had a terrific Thursday. For all of you that don't know me, my name is Red Wine. I go by Red Wine. This is Red Wine Talking. Welcome to each and every one of you. I know you're going to start popping up on my feed, and I'm going to try to say hello to each and every one of you while you pop up. Hi, Gwen. But in the meantime, I'm going to start off with my topic, because I'm gonna project my voice a little bit more, because I don't actually have a mic, and I feel like if the screen is a little bit far away from me, and I don't want to sound like if I'm mumbling. So if I'm yelling at you, please, I apologize. That's not what I intend to do. I wanted to jump on here and say hello to everyone, and to continue my discussion regarding sex education, just sharing what I've learned throughout my many years being here on this planet Earth, and experiencing sex, love, and life, and learning purpose. So I am inspired, and I want to inspire through my inspiration. I am motivated, and I want to motivate through my motivation. I'm awakened, still awakening, and I want to awaken others through my awakenings. Hence my doing these talk shows. You know, what is knowledge? What is experience if you don't share it, if you do not share it? So, that being said, we're going to move right on by talking about some really good sex questions that I found while doing some research for the show tonight. And I wanted to start by saying that, you know, I've always wanted to be a talk show host, so I tried to research stuff, and I found something that Oprah did, and I look up to her because I love the fact that she promotes other people and their businesses. I want to continue to have my talk shows, but I want to move on to promoting other people and helping them grow their business. So look forward to that. I want to move on to that as well. I want you guys to know that this show and every show is sponsored by Budget Blinds. We do your windows, we do your doors, so check us out, 954-423-0777. We are usually via territory, but look at us, check into us for your window covering needs. Every show, each and every show is sponsored by Budget Blinds. So let's move on to my questions, my 14 questions. I found some really good sex questions that I thought would be enlightening to each and every one of us here on this life, that we all know that sex is something that we all want and need, something that we are all interested in. It's a taboo topic. No one really likes to talk about it, which I don't know why. So I want to talk about it. I like to talk about stuff that people don't like talking about, because I'm a straight up, honest, genuine person, and I want to share everything that I've learned along the way. Whether or not it works for you, please don't hold it against me, but I'm just going to share what I know have worked for me and what has worked for other people that I know. We're all different people, so not everything is going to work for each and every one of us. So one of the questions that I saw that was really interesting was, can you learn to be passionate about someone if there's no chemistry at first? What do you guys think? I'll repeat the question. Can you learn to be passionate about someone if there's no chemistry at first? I believe you can. I believe you can, and this is what I found in response to that question, which I totally agree with. Totally agree with it. Hi, Yadi. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you, Mrs. Almonte. So, if a couple like each other, have fun together, and basically have a good relationship, they shouldn't call it quits if everything is there but the sex. Let me repeat that because I read that totally wrong. If a couple like each other, have fun together, and basically have a good relationship, they shouldn't call it quits if everything is there but the sex. I agree. Chemistry can grow if you give yourself permission to learn about yourself as a sexual human being and to communicate your desires. I agree. I've always said communication is key. I did my degree in communications. I graduated with full honors. I believe in communications. So I'm very passionate about communication. So yes, communicate your desires. That's probably better than falling for someone in a mad, passionate heat. Because when you realize you don't actually like each other, sex is the first thing to go, and then you have nothing. I agree 100%. A relationship is not just about sex, it's about so much more. So if you fall in love with someone for other reasons, then yes, I believe you should keep that love, keep that trust, keep everything you feel about that person, and work on the passion, work on the chemistry. And I think it can come if both of you do the due diligence. I totally agree with that statement. So Sue Johansson, an RN, she's a host of a talk show. She's the one that gave that feedback, and I totally agree with that. Also, my other question that I thought was very interesting: can you have a great, long-lasting sex life with the same partner? I've talked about this on my show before, and I think it's a question that we can never stop responding to. And it says here, absolutely. But you're not going to be having movie-style sex. Wow, talk about hitting the nail on the head. You know, movie-style sex, anything in the movies, we cannot begin to go by what we see in the movies, because this is real life and we need to remember that. We need to remember that. Movie sex is romantic and passionate. You idealize your partner. You're turned on before you begin, and you make love every time you're together. That's movie sex. That's not real sex. In an ongoing relationship, sex is more about intimacy and security, and it's integrated with who you really are. It also doesn't happen as often. Let's not forget reality, ladies and gentlemen. We look at the movies, we look at TV shows. Let's not forget about reality. Yes, Judy, I agree. Passion drives it all. Couples who keep their sex lives going develop a style early on. Who initiates? How much foreplay is included? Do they like taking turns? Do they or don't they appreciate quickies? They also consciously make time for sex. Consciously. Real life. Real life. The idea that the best sex is spontaneous is a myth. Most long-term couples plan their sexual experiences. It's like going to a show. Part of the pleasure is looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, my husband and I do not plan sex, just to give you a little bit of an inside scoop. But what they're saying here is that real life relationships, couples do plan it, and that's fine. If that's what works, then great. Then great. Sexually satisfied couples also know that sometimes the show, quote unquote, will be great, and other times it will be mediocre or worse. Reality, ladies and gentlemen, reality. You have to be realistic and not panic. Thinking this means you're falling out of love or falling as a lover. Please think about it. think about it. You don't want to overthink anything. You don't, think about your partner, think about everything you've been through. Don't overthink it, and don't let that affect your sex, your relationship. Healthy, mutually pleasuring sex really helps strengthen the bond between couples. I agree. The more you avoid having sex and the more self-conscious you become about it, the harder it is to get back on track. It has to be natural, it has to be flowing. It really does. This is according to Barry W. McCarthy, PhD, professor of psychology at American University in Washington, D.C., and co-author of Getting It Right the First Time. I like his response a lot. Other question, are there any taboos left? Talking about sex, that's a taboo. There are people who look at me weird. There are people who think I'm strange. There are people who think all sorts of things because I decided to come up with a talk show that talks about sex. But guess what? I'm going to talk about things that I know we all really want to talk about, but don't have the balls or the vagina to talk about it. So let's talk about it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know, Romeo and Juliet are still in effect. I hardly ever use the word vagina here. I use Juliet. And I hardly ever use the word penis. I use Romeo. So just for you guys to stay in touch with the lingo that goes on here when we're on here. So they also went on to say, in regards to are there any taboos left about talking about sex, it's too personal and it's too private. You know what, it is supposed to be private, but sex is something we all do, so why not talk about it? They are afraid that if they reveal anything about themselves, it will be used against them as a weapon in an argument. You're a slut just like your mother, per example. Now, I've heard my husband say to me many times, my sex life is on the road, something that we say in Trinidad. My business on the road, we say that in Trinidad a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and we have a lot of slang and lingo going on over there. Something we say when everybody knows something about us. We say, my business on the road. Everybody knows my business. Everybody knows what's going on in my home life. Everybody knows what's going on privately. But you know what? I'm a very straight up person, and there's a lot of things that I talk about that a lot of people will not talk about. Sex is one of them. That being said, another one of the questions came up, what's the latest on sex toys? And for some of you who haven't been on here, you don't know that I haven't really explored sex toys because I'm really into organic sex. I love my husband's Romeo. He loves my Juliet. We've never really explored sex toys. I did do a brief show on sex toys, but I want to go back to that. And I want to read what they said about what's the latest on sex toys for you guys. So many people are using them. What the heck is wrong with me? I'm not. What the heck is wrong with me? Hi, Red Fox. Thank you for joining. Hi, Donna. So many people are using sex toys. Vibrators have helped some women have orgasms for the first time. And since women now expect sexual pleasure, it makes sense they would buy sex toys. Maybe that's why I haven't explored sex toys, because I've never had an issue with orgasms. Let's go on. The rabbit habit is the most famous. There's a shaft to penetrate, really, with vibrating pearls that stimulate the opening of the Juliet, and 2 airs that tickle the clitoris. What? Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that haven't been here in the past, I just discovered my clit/clitoris, and honestly, I don't think I need anything to tickle it except my husband's Romeo or other body parts. But you know what? I'm open. Vibrators also are getting smaller. There's one that slides over a fingertip, so it's easy to incorporate into sex with a partner and less like having a third party there. Ooh, I like that it's not actually acting as a third party, and I may have to try the smaller vibrators. Some are stealth toys like the Vibra pen, a ballpoint with a vibrator on the tip. There's the stowaway, which comes in a plastic case that makes it look like makeup to avoid embarrassment with airport security. God knows we've seen lots of memes and video where the vibrator falls out at airport security and then the woman doesn't know. I will tell you right now, I will not be one that will be embarrassed if I had a vibrator that fell out in the airport, because guess what? We're all using them, right? I might be one of the few that's not actually using a vibrator. Who has a problem with that? It's their problem. It's not mine. So, like how we say in Trinidad, who vex loss? Meaning who gets angry, it's their problem. Who has a problem with this, it's their problem. Because I don't have a problem with my vibrator. Why would you? Why would you? So, every woman should own at least one sex toy, it says. Guys, I have to be honest with you, I don't own one. Not one. My sexual relationships, including the one that I'm in right now, have been really more than satisfying to me, and I have never had a need to use any of these. But again, I'm very open. Hi, Rhonda Gopi. So every woman should own a sex toy, at least one. It's like buying a tennis racket, they say. You may not end up playing tennis, but why not try it? Which basically just repeats what I just said, right? It just repeats what I just said. Let's see if there's another question on here that I want to continue on, because there were a lot of questions here. I also want to take a moment to recognize the lady, girl, hairstylist that did my hair today. I told her I would give her a shout out. She is known as Hair Studio Makeover on Facebook. She's known as Hair SMO on Instagram. Her name is Julie, otherwise known as Jay, and she is a celebrity stylist. She specializes in braids. She specializes in multicultural hair. I want to read something else that she had said to me. She said that, she's situated in Coral Springs, which I know, right? And she specializes in multicultural textures. Guys, give her a shout out. She did a really good job. She colored my gray hairs today. She, of course, blow dried my hair. I love the job that she did. She can be reached at 954-496-6434. Check her out. She's really, really good at what she does. Please check her out. So I want to continue. I just wanted to stick that little ad in there for her because she's so good to me and I want to be good to her in return. So, can you be happy without sex? Wow. This is a great topic because I've had friends that have gone through prostate cancer. I've had an uncle that has gone through prostate cancer. And, the topic comes up as to whether or not they or he is going to continue having sex, and what is life going to be without sex. And I think about it and I'm like, you know what, I'm a life lover. Any one of you who know me, you know that I'm a life lover. Sex is not the be all end all, even though I love my sex and a lot of us love having sex. I remember talking to a friend of mine and he said to me a while ago, he said to me that, he couldn't have sex anymore and he felt like, what is life if he can't have sex anymore? And I thought about it and I'm like, life is so much more than just that. Yes, sex is good and it's great and it's passionate and the chemistry is wonderful and everything about sex is what we all love, but life is more than that. Ladies and gentlemen, please, for all of us, especially those of us that's getting older, please don't let your life go down the drain. Don't look at it as this negative thing. A lot of men go through prostate cancer. A lot of men probably can't even get erections, whether or not they have prostate cancer. But life is way more than sex. Come on, we all know that. We all know that. So I want to talk about, can you be happy without sex, right? As a sex therapist, I can tell you that when a couple, I'm not a sex therapist. Let's just use this disclaimer right now. FYI, I am going to have a sex therapist on the show in the future coming up, so stay tuned. But this is what I found when I researched online. As a sex therapist, this is a sex therapist talking, of course, Sandra Leibloom, PhD. As a sex therapist, I can tell you that when a couple who haven't been sexually active suddenly have a good experience, you can see the difference. They come in laughing and talking. There's more physical affection between them. It's better than any therapy session. It would be great if we could package the feeling, although it usually lasts only 24 hours and you have to do it again. On the other hand, there are women out there who simply don't care very much about sex. And there are more sexless marriages than you would think. Relationships that can be bonded, loving, companionable, and devoted. Oh my God, she couldn't have said it any better. Single women may find what they most miss is a close relationship, not sex. And they can often find that closeness with friends, and that's why women do so well alone. So ladies and gentlemen, I can totally tell you, I have single friends. I know a lot of women that are doing just fine without sex, although I must say that they would love to have the good sex, continue to have the good sex that they once had, or find someone else to continue to have that good sex. But trust me, we can live without it. We can live without it. Also, I wanted to go back a little bit because I skipped and I jumped on to how do I buy sex products online without anyone finding out? That's funny. I'm not a very shameful person, so I don't have an issue buying sex products. If I had to, I've never had a problem buying anything that was sexually related. Condoms, I picked up condoms for my husband in the past before we got married. I have no issue with that. And it said to me, the response to how do I buy sex products online without anyone finding out? Some web businesses sell, rent, and exchange customer information. Toys in Babeland doesn't. Good to know. If you want to protect yourself, look for that assurance and make sure you're dealing with a real business. One that has a phone number, good point, address, good point, and contact information, very good point. Our merchandise comes in a plain brown wrapper that says only TIB. But it's probably better not to order from work. I agree. If someone checked your internet history or used spyware, our real name would come up. So yes, I agree 100%. How am I doing on time, Mr. Director? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking with my director in regards to time, because I don't want to be on here too long. I don't want to bore you. I want to leave some information for my next show. I definitely do. So, good, Judy. Yes, you must take notes. It's very important to take notes. And now that you said that, I'm going to veer on to, I've met up with a lot of my viewers in the public world, and people that I don't know who's watching, and people that have said to me that they are watching, and that I'm doing something that they absolutely love because they've learned a lot through my shows, and it encourages me to go on. So I want to thank you guys for all of the encouragement. It means a lot to me. It keeps me going. It motivates me. And I want to thank you guys for motivating me to continue. You know, I always have to leave you with something that is inspirational, because I read a lot of inspirational stuff, and I feel like if I have to share it so that I can inspire my viewers, my audience, my people. So one of the things that I want to leave you with that I found that was really, really good is, let me see if I find it. Wow. Shout out to all the men going through a lot with no one to turn to, because this world has wrongly taught our males to mask their emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, I have run into men lately that have no problem sharing their emotions, and I want to let the men out there know, those of you that are watching my show, we are open to you sharing your emotions. Please do not be afraid, do not be ashamed of sharing your emotions. We love emotional men, believe it or not. I know some men don't like emotional women, but we are emotional, and I think our emotions help each other, help one another to understand where we're coming from and why we think what we're thinking. So emotions, I want to leave you guys with that. Emotions we can share. I have no problem with a man sharing his emotions, and please, men, don't give us a hard time when we share our emotions. It's how you get to know us. It's how you know what we don't like. It's how you know how not to upset us. And guess what? If you share your emotions, we will get to understand you better. As women, we want to understand men better. And as men, you want to understand us better as well. So emotions is a good way to go, but let's just do it in a controlled manner. You know, let's not wait until it gets to be overbearing or overwhelming, because then it comes out so angry. But why not share how you feel about something when you can still control the emotions to a certain degree, so that we can easily receive what is it that you're feeling, and you guys can easily receive what we are feeling. It will be so much better for our relationships, right? And this goes in friendships too. It's not just in loving relationships, it's also in friendships. So share, be open, you know, be direct, so that we can all understand each other better. Thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for always vibing with me. I'm going to continue on here with my sex, love, and everything that goes with it. I'm going to continue to hopefully bring you some guests that can continue to share with me and inspire you as well. And I want you guys to remember that the weekend is coming up, and that the different variants of COVID-19 is still around. So let's continue to be cautious. Let's get vaccinated if we can, if and when we can, because it's the key to us moving on to like a more normal, healthy life. You know, let's be smart about what we're doing. Let's take everyone into consideration, all of our family and friends and loved ones, and even people that are going through so much in their lives. There's a lot of sadness going on. There's a lot of loss. There's a lot of deaths. There's a lot of sickness. But you know what? Let's try to be there for one another in whichever way that we can. Kindness first, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. Mwah, mwah, hugs, group hug to all of you. And I hope to see you soon on my pop-up live broadcast, Red Wine Talking. Thank you so much. Love you. Ciao for now.